Moderation helps everyone feel safe. Close. Okay. Oh, here we are.
We're live. Okay.
Yes, this has been a struggle trying to get this
Should we
corrected.
turn it or no? Stay like this.
Yeah, I want to turn it.
Should we push the camera back in so we both can be in it?
Mm-hmm. Bear with me.
Make sure you're, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get started. I know this is a
Okay.
little awkward to come on moving around, but the first one is going to be a little awkward.
It's okay.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and showing up to have this brief conversation with us. Well, let me introduce myself and then my guest. I am Naomi Greenlee. This is Conversations That Matter. And yes, there are plenty of conversations that matter, right?
Yes, definitely.
And so I've been doing talk shows and YouTubes and all of that for quite some time. I had a previous talk show before, but I am so excited about this one because this is one that I've actually been thinking about a long time, prayed about, and now the day is finally here to start. Say, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. So we're starting, right?
Yes, yes.
So I have my guest here, Tabitha Cartwright,
Yes.
and this is a girlfriend of mine. We talk very often. We talk about a lot of different things. We have
Yes.
conversations about a lot of things. So quite naturally, I asked her, being single like me, to come and let's just have a conversation about
Let's
this
do it.
very unpopular topic that
Very unpopular.
most people don't want to talk about,
Yes,
right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I just feel like it's time to talk about it. I feel like I have the right audience, so whoever does show up, that you're going to be able to talk about this with me. And feel free to make comments or anything that you want to say on there. We'll be very happy to respond and to listen to what you have to say as well.
Yes.
And real brief, Tabitha, let me ask you before we dive into what we're going to talk about. Just tell me something fun about yourself, something so because no one knows us
Fun?
yet. Yeah,
Okay.
fun, or maybe something you just want to say about yourself.
I'll do fun.
Okay.
Do fun. Something fun about myself. I am heavy into the arts.
Okay.
I am a dancer, so I do
Wow.
ballet, jazz, and modern dance. So
Okay,
yes.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I gotta
Yes.
see that one day. You've been saying
Yes.
that forever, but I just haven't seen it. I'm sure you're good.
Yeah,
I'm sure
okay,
you're good.
I'm okay.
You're okay. You don't want to pile it up too much. That's all right. That's all right. Well, myself, just a little bit about me. I'm a realtor as a career, and I absolutely love what I do as a real estate agent. So, that's what I do right now. And I'm pretty excited about that. But let's just dive into conversations that matter. And really, why does it even exist? Why does it even exist? Because there are crucial things that actually, topics that impact our lives, that impact our personal life, our communities, our faith. And so we want to invite you to kind of dive deep into some topics that literally, helps us communicate and relate to other people, and to talk about our personal challenges, our social issues, and sometimes we'll even have answers to those things. But most of all, we're just going to have a conversation about it. Feel free to join into those conversations.
Yes.
So thank you for coming on and being
Thank you
my
for
guest.
having me. I'm so excited.
I am too.
Thank you.
Don't she look beautiful?
Oh, thank you.
She's
Thank
single,
you.
you guys. And she is a jewel of a friend. So definitely you couldn't go wrong. So watch yourself. So first, I really want to kind of dive into, my personal story, why I even feel that this is a topic. The topic is sex, single, and saved.
Oh, wow.
As a Christian, wow.
Oh, wow.
How do we as single Christians handle sex?
That's heavy.
That is very heavy, because I know a lot of us are single and Christian, and we're handling sex different ways than each other, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so for me, I will have to say, I haven't always handled it the correct way, the biblical way. I've stepped out many times the wrong way, as you know, the opposite way the Bible has told us to do it. Because, you know, for us Christians, we know that sex before marriage is a sin. It's fornication. It's okay to say it, you guys. It's the truth. It's okay. We're going to be talking the truth on here. We're going to tell the truth and shame the devil, right?
That's right.
Now, every topic I have may not be Christian, you know, Christendom, you know, it may be about different things, but I definitely want to start out with a Christian type topic, because no matter what I talk about, my foundation is Christian.
Absolutely.
So know that I'll be pulling from that in my life, because that's what it has been. Yeah.
Yes.
So first of all, let's kind of go about how navigating this single life and faith and sex.
Okay.
So let me say, first of all, for me, I feel like it's, you know, we should have a purpose as single people. And our purpose is not really, oh my gosh, God, one day, when am I going to get married? When am I going to get married? I know that's what we feel. But I personally believe that when we are single, there is a purpose that we need to fulfill as a single person, that we need to be having self-growth. We need to be getting closer to God, growing spiritually strong. And when we have ourselves 100% in the place where we need to be, now we're going to draw the right person.
Absolutely.
If you're complaining about, why I always draw this kind of man, well, maybe you need to just start checking yourself out first, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think about that, Tabitha?
I agree completely. I think it's important, it's imperative to take inventory of ourselves to see where we're at and what it is that we need to work on within ourselves before we enter into any type of relationship. If we have baggage and trauma and that is unhealed, then we're going to bring that into our relationship. And then you're going to continue to ask yourself the same questions. Why am I single? Why do I attract this? It's because that's who you are. And we have to work on ourselves before we are expecting God to give us what we want.
Exactly.
So you have to be who you are expecting.
Right.
And if we're not that, then we need to put in the work. So it's important to take inventory of self, examine yourself.
Right.
What tendencies do I have? What do I need to change? Is God pleased with my lifestyle? What is it that I need to work on? Those are daily questions that we need to implement in our lives in order to be put in position to receive what God has for us.
Right.
1000%.
I love that. I love that. When you said one thing, you said the word broken. A lot of times we're bringing our broken self, connecting us to another broken person, and expecting this to be the most perfect union. Two broken people.
Toxic.
Now, toxic. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be perfect, but let's not be broken.
Let's not be broken.
Yeah, and that's, we'll get on. Sometimes that's what happens when you have sex before marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
It will cause you to become that broken person.
It clouds your judgment. It clouds your judgment, and then you have these soul ties and attachments to these individuals to where you're ignoring red signs. You're ignoring the message. You're ignoring what the individual is showing. The Bible. So, you know, we can't say we love God and we're willing to wait and submit to what he has for us, but we're living a life of sin. That doesn't go together.
It doesn't go together. So like right now, I'm not even really talking to people or about people who have not accepted Christ.
Okay.
Because you're just going to live how you live, right? Before Christ. But if you have put on the mind of Christ and you say, this is now I'm living the lifestyle that agrees with the Bible, then I should be a little different. I should be a little obedient. And I know a lot of people like, I'm grown. I can do what I want to do, how I want to do it, with whom I want to do it. And you know what? You are right.
You're going to be on a cycle of brokenness, a cycle of going nowhere. So you're absolutely right. And like you said, it's not necessarily just for believers. Let's just take an average person who, let's say they don't believe in God. And if you are looking to be intimate and sexually active with someone, there needs to be a barometer.
Right.
There needs to be examination. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're doing? What is going on within you?
Right.
What's going on within that person? Is your lifestyle healed from past traumas? Is their lifestyle healed from past traumas? people bond over trauma. There's
Yeah.
so many ways
Oh,
to
yes.
connect. You know what I mean?
And that's one you don't want to connect on is
No, because
trauma
it's hard to
bonding.
break that.
Trauma bonding. Oh my
That's a real
goodness.
thing.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And when you lay down too early
Woo.
with someone, it's easier to fall into that. Now I know there are some people who did before they got married. Now they're married. And that's a great thing. But also, I want you to know too, even for myself, I had to understand that God's grace is sufficient for me. So when I have done that, and then I go and ask for forgiveness because I knew better, then he's gracious to forgive me.
Absolutely.
But it also is a scripture that says, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. Right? So we don't want to continue. No. Even if you keep falling, keep getting back up and keep asking for true forgiveness, and you'll be forgiven. Because you know what? I know some people think like, Naomi, you're so dogmatic about stuff when it comes to God. You're probably right. I don't play about him because he don't play about me. Right? That's right. So when it's something he say don't do, trust and believe. I'm trying my best to fit that.
Absolutely.
I may not get it just right, but it won't be because I didn't try.
Absolutely.
I'm really trying to get it right. So that is one thing, sex before marriage, that I feel like now I'm getting it right. And it's been for years. I'll tell you really quick.
And it's a blessing too.
It is a blessing. It's so freeing. It's freedom. I'm not tied to anyone thinking, who is he talking to? Because he done slept with me and now he's with. No, honey. Because my husband will honor me. I'm going to know who that is because he's going to honor me in that area. So I won't have to worry about that. And I'm going to know the difference. Trust me. I will know the difference.
Yes, you will.
I'm not going to have to wonder about that.
Yes.
So, this is just us coming from a biblical perspective. And coming from a biblical perspective is so helpful because spiritually, relationally, emotionally, physically, it's helpful. When the Bible tells us what to do, it's going to help us in all those areas. When we look back and say, you know what, I'm glad because now I'm not emotionally tired. I'm really happy because now physically I'm okay. It's just spiritually I'm still close to you. I'm not thinking about, because sin separates you from God. When you are walking in sin and just openly walking in sin. So how do you feel about being patient in that area before you are married?
I would lie if I said that I've never been, tempted and there's not struggles. There will always be, when you're living a path of righteousness in on a straight and narrow path. That's life. We're going to be tempted. The enemy watches us like a hawk, and he knows what we like. So when we're tempted, we know it's from the enemy. And when he tempts us, it's going to be with something that we like.
Right.
So it's important to maintain a level head of what's happening. Why is this happening? Right. And if we don't have those principles, there's no protection. There's no foundation of, oh, this is why this is happening. This is why I am being tempted, and this is how I overcome it.
Right.
So when that happens, you're able to identify and discern, okay, this is what I need to do to make sure that I don't fall short.
Right.
Because it's when he comes hard, when the enemy comes, he's coming hard. It's not going to be boom, just gonna jump in your face. No, it's very settled.
It's very subtle.
It's very settled, and you literally have to be very in a discernment mindset to notice, oh, this is definitely a temptation. So if you're not indulging in sin on a consistent basis where you're living in sin, you're able to deal with logic and not emotion.
Yes.
Because when we're dealing with emotion, that's when sin enters. That's when we're not thinking clearly and we make those mistakes. And then here we go, we're repenting again because we were emotional. We let our guard down. We were operating in a different sense we should not have been.
Right.
So it's very important to, and I know you said that you could be very dogmatic when it comes to the Bible, and I love that. But every single avenue of life, there is a system, there's a blueprint, there's a foundation. And as believers, the Bible is our foundation.
Exactly.
It is our blueprint in every area of life, how
Right.
we should live,
Exactly.
how we should think,
Right.
the things that we should do and should not do.
Yeah.
So that is why Christ came, because he knew that we would fall short.
Mhm.
But the goal is obviously to strive towards perfection.
Right.
But we're going to get those temptations.
Exactly.
If I don't have enough ammunition in me spiritually, I'm going to fall every time.
Every time.
So it is very important for me to remain grounded,
Mhm.
have like-minded individuals like
Right.
Naomi I can call, like, girl, this is what's happening.
Accountability partners.
Accountability, pray with me, pray, help me. It's important to have those things. The truth of the matter is, in terms of dealing with temptation, we cannot do it on our own.
Exactly.
That's when Satan really creeps in, is when we're by ourselves.
Right.
We can't do
And
it
we
on
try
our
to handle
own.
it all by yourself.
Yeah, so you have to literally have a foundation, and that foundation doesn't have to be just the Bible.
Right.
It can be a group of friends. It can be
other books.
It can be books.
Yeah.
There's different things you can implement to make sure you're able to identify that temptation, because if you don't know it's temptation, how are you going to fight against it?
Exactly. And you know what? This is something I really want to point out to the audience, to let them know. I'm not just coming from this perspective of someone who's over 60 and don't know what life is.
age, it's almost, I was just having this conversation with a cousin of mine. A guy approached her, and it was very traditional. And when I say traditional, I mean biblical.
Right.
And immediately she was saying, I'm 38. Like, what I look like, you know? And so I said, well, wait a minute. Let's take it back. What is the standard?
Right.
Is the standard today modern time,
right.
or is it biblical?
Right. Right.
We can't
the
just
culture.
yeah,
You want some people want to keep it under cultural guidance,
Yeah.
but we can't be led by culture because
No.
culture changes. And like back in the day, many years ago, it was very unpopular for people to sleep together, even though they were doing it. It wasn't as open. And now it's like, what are you
There's
talking
no
about?
shame.
Yeah, it's no shame.
There's no shame.
Yeah, it's just that's just it what it is,
Yeah.
because this is who we are, you know.
Absolutely.
So you can't let culture guide you.
No.
That's why the Bible never changes.
The Bible never changes. And so I was, we had a moment where we laughed. And so honestly, it took for me to get off of that phone call, and I had to take inventory. And I said, well, wait a minute. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just foreign to us,
Right.
because we have never been approached in such manner.
Right.
However, he is doing it the way God told a man to do it when he's interested in a woman.
Right. Right.
So I called her back because I'm accountable at this point.
Okay.
So I called her back and I say, oh, we're frozen.
Oh, we're frozen. I wonder why it was still that way. I don't ever know how to get out of frozen, and I don't know why it's freezing.
Is it refresh? Is there a refresh button? You may have to do it again. Go out and do it again.
I don't want to like really get out of it. Oh no. Oh, it keeps freezing, but why? I knew my first was going to have some glitches I couldn't explain. And if it's still recording while I'm doing this right now, I'm going to be really ashamed.
No,
but
I don't think it's not recording.
It's still doing a countdown, that's for sure.
Oh, is it?
Oh
wow.
I don't know, guys. If you
maybe they can hear, but it's frozen.
Maybe you guys can hear. I am so frozen and don't know how to come out of frozen.
So just go out and come back.
Top message, community. Oh my goodness. So here we are again.
Oh, is it live?
We're live again.
Okay.
So sorry about that. We had some good stuff we said. I hope you guys heard all of that good stuff she was saying. But yeah, so you talked about your cousin that you had to call him back because he did it the way that God is intended for us to do it.
Correct.
How a guy to do if he's
how
interested.
he should approach a woman, and which is contacting the father. And she was like, what are we 5? And we kind of laughed for a second, but then it's like, since when did tradition become not the thing to do? That was a way of life.
Yeah.
In fact, if you did it outside of that, it was like frowned upon back in the day.
Right.
So,
yeah. And that all helps us in the area of our boundaries too. And here's another thing I want to make sure I bring across. So it's not that saying that sex is bad. Scratch that. It's saying that not now. God said sex is something he created on this side of marriage, not on that side of marriage. Just do it over here. Yeah. It kind of makes me think about a parent.
Okay.
So the kid's like, I want dessert now before I eat. And the parents say, no, you're not having dessert until after your nutritional meal. After you have your nutritional meal, then you can eat the dessert, but not before. So God says, no, I'm not saying you can't have sex, but not before marriage, just after marriage. And I know why that's hard for us, because you don't get married tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You don't get married like soon as you think about it.
Right.
It's time. So there's discipline connected in there. There's discipline for sure. You got to be a disciplined person.
Yes.
And
definitely.
For me, and I mean, this is something like my own opinion, so I could be wrong. I think like if he can't be disciplined before we're married,
such a turn off.
Yeah,
it's a turn off.
Because it's a turn off. Let me show you something that's a turn off for me. When somebody is looking at you and
Oh, I can't stand that. Oh my goodness.
You know, like I know that's probably way back in the day, but if
No,
they're
they
doing
still.
that, oh, they still do it,
Oh
looking at you
God.
like that. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna have to do better.
Yeah. Because I
as,
mean, they're
as
already
a turn
sinners.
off,
Yeah.
as a turn off. So a huge turn off anyway.
Yes, I agree.
One of my sister-in-law told me, she said, Naomi, why are you over 60 talking about you want to be in love when you're married? What's that got to do with anything? You know, I was like, honey, I am still the same
Yes.
person.
You're human.
I'm human. It's still that
Yeah.
desire is still
Absolutely.
there, but I'm gonna do it God's way.
Righteously.
And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people, you know, for single people, like pushing them to get married, those who don't want to get married, because there are a lot of people who don't want to get married.
Lord
And then,
bless them.
yeah, and there are those who do want to get married. You have somebody,
Absolutely.
honey, marriage not for me. You know what I'm saying? That's what some people, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's what some people will say.
Yes.
But that's not what we're talking about. No man bashing, none of that
No,
at
no, no,
all.
no,
We're just
no.
trying to do it in the correct way and be honored and honor him
Yes.
and let him know that he's getting something that is really
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
when you get me.
And that's
Hello?
how you know you're marrying a man of God who wants to wait and
Right.
understands the value in waiting and shares the same boundaries and values as you have. When you have to overly explain to someone
Over and over again.
over and over consistently of why you can't do this and why it's important for us to maintain distance after a certain hour and things of that nature, and why we, shouldn't be left alone. When you have to explain that, it's so challenging. Number one, it's
Yeah.
draining.
It's draining.
It's draining mentally, but then that's an indication of who you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what do? Are you going to remain in that situation and continue to explain? Or are you going to take this as this is an indication this is not the man for me? Because
Right.
the man is the lead.
Yes.
I, as the woman, should not be telling you why I need to respect what God says. You should be enforcing what God says,
Exactly.
and I will fall in line.
And fall
naturally.
in line and follow his guide,
Mhm.
follow his leading on that.
Absolutely.
So definitely, we talked about the cultural pressures, because there are cultural pressures. Like even as we speak right now,
Mhm.
there are people who think this conversation is a mute
Mm.
conversation. You know, like, why are we doing this? Because as soon as I turn off this YouTube, I will be getting busy.
Oh wow.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
But it's just to let the world know that there are still people who want to do it God's way.
Absolutely.
Who want to honor the Bible, who want to honor our bodies, who want to honor a marriage, who want to honor whatever, what we decide to do.
Yeah.
And I know some people say, well, what if I don't ever plan to get married? What about sex for me? Well, sex before marriage is a sin. It's called fornication.
Yeah.
And sex after marriage is wonderful.
Yes.
It's a God-given desire.
It is.
It's just doing at the time when we should. Like that dessert I told you about.
I think the reason why it's an unpopular topic is because it's been made justifiable.
Oh yeah.
And
definitely
there's not enough emphasis on the fact that it is a sin.
Mm-hmm.
And individuals are
But you know
abusing
why?
grace.
You know why?
Why?
Because the church is full of them.
Exactly. From the
who still do it.
Yeah.
And so everybody else like well, I know a bunch of Christians who still,
Yes.
and that's the truth.
Yes.
But I'm gonna tell you something. Now, here's where I get dogmatic.
Mhm.
This is where I get dogmatic.
Let's hear it.
See, I still think about the scripture that says, I could do all these wonderful things in church.
Mm-hmm.
I can go feed the poor. Yeah. I can, clothe and home, just go pray for folks and preach and pastor, which those I am not. But I could do all these things, but still there's scripture to say in that day, he's going to say, depart from me, you that work in iniquity.
7:23.
I never knew you.
Never.
Ever knew you. And I'm like, well, how is it that he didn't never know me? And if I'm doing all this stuff, because my life wasn't lining up and I was walking.
Being burned.
Your works are being burned.
Mm-hmm.
So faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
So if
And
you're
then
saying that you have the faith in God, but no works involved, that's a dead mute situation.
you know what? It's the Bible, the scripture says, "Woe unto you, pastors."
Yeah.
And if I can come to your service and after hearing a word and I am not convicted,
Mm,
it's not, oh, that word was for me. I'm motivated. Yes, we should be motivated, but there should be a sense of conviction. I
yeah.
need to, Tabitha, that you need to change this. God is
Right.
not pleased with this. Let's
Right.
work on. You
Yeah.
should literally leave with a game plan on
Mhm.
how you're
How
going to
you're
be
gonna
implement what you just read and
Right.
received.
Right.
There is not enough of that, and
Yeah.
that is why there are people that are on social media who will go to the club,
Mhm.
stay up all night, go to Waffle House, and go straight to church.
Mm.
And I know the scripture says, "Stay, come as you are." I
Right.
would never tell anyone not to go to church.
Oh yeah.
However, when
Mhm.
you come to church, that word should be so heavy
Mhm.
to where you feel uncomfortable
Doing
coming
certain
in
things.
willingly and knowingly knowing that you have sinned, and that's a lifestyle.
Right.
Now, let me be very clear. When we sin as believers, we do need to run to church, run to the
Right.
altar,
Oh
get
yeah.
to get
Every
the prayer.
time.
But
Whether
what
you're
I'm saying,
sinning or not, run to church. Right.
absolutely.
Run to God.
However,
basically.
if you know that this is just your lifestyle and you're not feeling any type of conviction and unction to change your life, that's not the church for you.
Right. Yeah.
It clearly is not.
It should be changing you.
There should be accountability.
Mm-hmm. It should be.
And there's not enough. And it's funny because, like, when people get to know me and when we first meet, they often, and this is on a consistent basis, they call me like the good girl, the church girl,
Mhm.
or an angel.
Mhm.
It never fails,
Mhm.
every single time.
Mhm.
And I don't want to say I'm somewhat offended, but it will make me uncomfortable sometimes
Mhm.
because I'm not an angel.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I go to church, but I have my shortcomings. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Right.
They see the good, but I know my real life. So it's like,
Exactly.
though I do live a holy lifestyle. However, I have things to work on. But I question myself, why is it that so many people, when they meet me, always
End up saying that. Yeah.
always end up saying it? It's like, what's going on? And it's like we live in a world, a society where accountability is you're judging me.
Yeah.
God
That's
knows
the
my
big
heart.
thing. Yeah.
It's like, yes, he does know your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need to fix it.
And I'm no different than the next person.
No.
I'm just saying, and I'm also I'm not in a group by myself. There are a lot of people who feel the way I feel, but some
Absolutely.
people are just not talking about it. That's
Correct.
why I feel like this is a conversation that matters, because every time a call comes through, you guys, I haven't figured out how to block it. So I apologize for this go round. We'll figure it out before the
Yes.
next go round.
She has to have me come back, that's all.
Yeah. But we want to have a balance in life, because this is not necessarily about you doing this and you doing that at all.
Mhm.
It's just us talking about something that really impacts our lives.
Mhm.
And women, we know we are more emotional than
Oh,
most
Lord,
men.
yes.
So we don't need anything else making us so emotional. And when you lay down with a guy, it becomes an emotional attachment for
Oh, my
women.
goodness,
And
yes.
men could be on to the next, and they didn't
Absolutely.
get connected like that. And so be careful, women, before you do that. It's not just for biblical reasons, but most importantly for biblical reasons, but also for your own sanity, your own emotional maturity, that you can still be emotionally mature and not jump into that situation that's going to take you down a rabbit hole and wonder why he's treating you so bad. Let me tell you really quick, and I know you're going to say something. I had a guy I had met, and I thought, oh my goodness, he might be really, good catch. And the first question he asked me on the phone call, because I met him in person, but it's been years ago. The first question he asked me was, when's the last time you had sex?
Oh, wow.
And first I was like, where is that coming from? Like, what is your last name first?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
when I
impressive.
told him, he kind of started shutting down because
Mhm.
you know what? And then he didn't call me
Mhm.
because he felt like, I'm sure this is not going to be easy. I need an
Mhm.
easy one that I can
Mhm.
jump in and out the bed and go to the next one.
Mhm.
So, in other words, in his mind, he was like, next, because
Yep.
this one ain't working
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
She ain't done something in a long time
Yeah.
like that. It
Yeah.
ain't going to be easy. Yeah. So, it's just that's what's on the forefront of most people's mind. And we
Yeah.
just want to make sure that women understand, and also men
Yeah.
understand who the ones who are trying to do it right.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because what I've gotten over the past few years, you're single? Yes. No kids? No kids. Never been married? Never been married. Oh, you must be celibate. And I go, yes. And it's funny that they know it.
Yeah.
It's so they're getting creative in how they ask
Yeah.
because
Okay.
because they know like okay, there's got to be something up, So that
Mm-hmm.
is their way of weeding out. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah. That's not gonna be
this not
easy.
gonna work.
It's not gonna be
And thank
easy.
you. I'm glad because I don't want to waste your time nor mine.
Right.
So yeah,
For
they're
them
getting
coming up because they probably was thinking about the next line.
absolutely. Yeah, they're getting creative now.
Yeah. So you have to be, if you want to have a lifestyle that obeys the scriptures, then we do have to, have accountability partners. We
Yeah.
have to not put ourselves in positions,
Yes.
in situations that is going to make it harder for us
Yes.
because that desire is still in us. It's not like it's dead. We're still alive. So
Very
the
much.
desire is still there. It's
Yes.
not the easiest thing in the world to do
No.
at all. See,
No.
sexual sin is one of the easiest ways that the enemy has gotten people.
Oh,
That's the
1,000%.
easiest sin because people always think, well, I can do this. This is my life. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But God has a way in the
Yeah.
scripture. The reason He talked against it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we have free will, like you said. It is your life. You can do with it as you
right.
please, but there are consequences.
Mm.
And there's eternal consequences, and there's
Spiritual
consequences,
consequences,
spiritual,
physical,
and then you're gonna have
emotional.
consequences here on this earth as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So when you look at what sex does to the individuals,
Right.
you become your souls are tied. What's in them comes in you, and what's in you goes into them. That is
Exactly.
why sex was always and only intended for one person.
Right. Yeah, you're not to be skating around. I
No.
was looking at TikTok one day and I saw this young lady on there. And she looked like she might be 21, 22. And she was telling about an experience that she had. And she said, she was like, y'all, this thing was real. And after I had sex, I knew I wasn't supposed to. I kind of felt bad. But afterwards, it was like I actually saw Satan in the realm that I'm in, and he was laughing and enjoying the fact that I did it. She said, I'm done. I'm not doing it like that.
Mm.
I'm All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we hope we have it fixed because we don't
Yes.
have much more time on here. We only have maybe about 15 more minutes, and now here comes a text or a voicemail. Anyway,
Okay. I think we're still good though.
yeah, my line
Yeah.
is pretty busy.
Okay.
But so, it's just the fact that I really felt this is a very important conversation because it is a sin. And I do believe that sin separates us from God.
Absolutely.
And there is a day when He's going to say, depart from me, you who work iniquity. What is iniquity? That is a sin.
Sin.
That I never knew you. So my whole thing is not always, do you know Jesus? I want to know, does He know me?
Mm-hmm.
Does He know
Absolutely.
me?
Yes.
Because what am I doing? Am I doing this life right?
Yeah.
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 And so whenever God brings that person in my life, that I've been honoring myself
Mm-hmm.
and fixing myself and
Mm-hmm.
examining my life and
Mm-hmm.
strengthening my spiritual walk and
Mm-hmm.
getting myself emotionally strong, getting myself financially in shape,
Mm-hmm.
credit, everything. Because there's a lot we can do. Single life is busy. It can be busy. It's a lot we need to do.
It's so busy.
And it's just an opportunity and a time and a space because guess what? Single life for most people is just a season.
Yes.
It's
And
just a season.
I'm so looking forward to this season
Being over.
I'm ready to relinquish everything over to my husband.
Right?
Here, take care of everything. I just want a mental break. So yes,
So you want to, and I guess everyone is like at a different place with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because me as a single woman, I'm ready for like someone who knows how to lead.
Oh, that's a
That
requirement.
that's
what a husband is.
right. He's a leader. Somebody I can feel comfortable with, that I feel like he can protect me
Mm-hmm.
and he can lead the situation. I don't have to feel like he's going to shame me because he just don't know how to do anything in life. But just someone I can follow. That's been like my thing for many years is, can I follow you? Because I want to.
Yeah.
I want someone I can follow. But before a woman would want to follow, you got to be going somewhere. Because like, follow me, where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of need to know where you're going. Because as a single person, I've been really working on myself, and I would prefer a man who can lead me.
Yeah. So that's interesting. You say as a single woman, you've been working on yourself. One thing about a woman that has been single for so many years, and me that has not been married yet, I'm accustomed to taking care of myself.
Exactly.
I'm accustomed to immediately being resourceful, immediately problem solving. And one way I would know that whomever that man is that God has for me is, number one, his relationship with God.
Right.
Because if you don't have a relationship with God, you 1,000,000% just cannot lead me. That's
Exactly.
first and foremost.
Okay. Yeah. So another call, we'll have it fixed. But yeah, I mean, when you're talking about the type of man that God has for you, you'll know he's for you because he can lead you.
Absolutely.
And when you say relinquish everything, not that and I understand you, not that you're just going to sit there and like you do it, not that, but you're going to sit back. Now you can like,
I don't have to be independent. I don't have to worry about
I can help you.
Yes.
I can give you peace. I can do a lot.
I can be your helpmeet.
I can be your helpmeet, as the Bible says. Yeah.
It's not, and this is why so many things happen, is because it is not, we're not built for that as women. Right. We're not built to raise children on our own with no men in the house. We're not built to go to work all day, take care of all the, but that's not what we were meant. We were meant and created to help the man.
Yeah.
So when we've taken on all of these roles, you wonder why there's some women who settle.
Yeah.
You wonder why some women will not just willingly give themselves to a man who is unworthy. It's because she's already doing things she should not be doing.
Anyway, yeah. Because
judgment is just off, and just sometimes you just want to break, sometimes you just want the companionship. There's so many things that can happen when a woman is outside of her role, what she was created.
And you're so right, because especially women who get to be my age and still want to be married, some women will get to the point, well, I'm not getting any younger, and well, I guess he's okay. I better. The devil is a lie.
You said I know my worth.
Yeah, and I'm not like I'm here, and it's just that I'm level, I'm balanced, and I want a level, balanced person in my life who knows and loves God as much as I do, as much as I do, and that's willing to step in that place, and because I'm willing to fall into place.
I cannot wait to fall in line like a tin hut really quickly. I am so ready. But again, the reason why, well, I don't want to say the reason why, because there are things that I am actively working on to improve myself so that I can be the best wife that I can possibly be. But it's often asked, since you've been independent for so long, how do you know you'll be able to submit? And it's like, listen, I am independent because I have to be. I have no problem whatsoever submitting to a man, especially when God blessed me with that man. It is my duty. It is my responsibility.
Exactly.
A part of my creation to honor this man by
Yeah.
submitting to him. I
Right.
look forward to serving
Right.
my
Right.
husband.
And you're going to know that you can submit because he's going to know that he can lead.
Absolutely.
And you're going to feel that.
And
You're going to know that.
Yeah.
You're
Our,
going to
our
know
fruit
that.
will bear witness of who we serve.
Exactly.
And
It
that's
starts
something
there.
that's the start.
Yeah.
That's the start.
It's not the end
It's
all,
not the end, yeah.
because you can't just say, I love God and I go to church and I serve in the church,
No.
but your life real raggedy, really raggedy. You know, that's hard. That's
Yeah,
hard to
that
say I'm
happens.
going to follow that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Because they don't realize that they're actually lost or that they
Yeah.
have things they need to work on. Some people
Yeah.
feel like they have it figured out and they don't, especially men.
Yeah. And then it may be a guy to come around my life and say, you need to fix that. You know?
And
But
I'm
I
open to
want
that.
that. I want
Yeah,
somebody
I
to
welcome that.
see ways that I can fix things
Yes.
around in my life, because I know I am not perfect.
Absolutely. We're the weaker vessel.
Yeah, exactly.
For a reason.
Exactly. So that'll be a wonderful day, even
Yes.
at my age. So I'm just saying, don't look at a woman who is of age and say, oh, she's different. She don't, what you doing? What are you know,
Mhm.
don't go there with it, because
Mhm.
there are a lot of women my age with my mindset.
Mhm.
With my mindset.
Yes.
We may have more things together now than we did years
Yes.
ago,
Mhm.
but we're not so together that we don't need a man. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
the Bible tells us it's not good for man to be alone. So two are better than one.
Yes.
I'm well aware of all of that.
Yes.
But I'm also well aware that I don't just dive in, because see, I've been married before,
Mhm.
and again.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's no diving in anywhere for me.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have to be very intentional.
Yes.
Of who I allow in my life, and I want him to be intentional about me.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be intentional about him.
Absolutely. That's a covenant.
Yeah. We're going to know.
Yes.
We're going to know.
Yes.
It won't be any guesswork.
No.
Because the right one not going to have you wondering and guessing.
Or waiting.
Yeah. Or waiting forever until you get to be my age.
Yes.
So that's just the way it is.
Yes.
I mean, so it's so important for me, that I don't indulge in sexual sin.
Yes.
Because when I do, it makes me, when I'm praying, like, oh, I haven't even gotten that right. I'm trying to, I want to go with as clean hands as I can, even though I know I have dirt on my hands, but can I wipe some of it off? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Some of it, because I got to go to
Clear
God.
conscience.
Yeah, clear conscience, because I got to go to him.
Yeah.
I must go to him.
Absolutely.
And I want that person in my life to feel the way. But if you're laying down with everybody and different person, and back in the day, if I was dating, that was a normal part of our relationship.
Mhm.
But in this day and time, and has been for years, that is not a part of relationship for me.
Absolutely.
That's just I'm saving that.
Absolutely.
And I started saying to the guy, can I save something for the husband?
Absolutely.
Can I save something for the husband? You've been there and done that in life. I've been there and done that in life already. We ain't trying to explore, sex is, I never had it before. It's not that. So we know about that.
Right.
We now want to handle it correctly.
That's right.
We want to be good stewards of our body. We talk about being good stewards of money.
Yes.
But how about being a good steward of your own body?
Of your temple.
Yeah, being a good steward yourself. You do have control of your body.
I love
you
that.
do have control of what goes on and what doesn't go on with your body. Do the right thing with your body.
Yeah. Mortify those members.
Yeah, mortify those. And that's what I think about for me. Now, that's for me. Now, if you don't like that, that's on you, right? You do how you do.
Yeah.
What you do, when you do, who you do it with.
Yeah, that's between you and God.
That's between you and God. Not going there with that, but just wanting to have that conversation between two girlfriends about, what we feel about that as Christians and single and sex. How is it? Because we see it's so prevalent that our friends that we know, some of them don't even think about that. It's just a part of.
It's a part of the dating
relationship.
routine.
Yeah, the dating routine. Sometimes not even dating, because society honors casual sex. So you don't even have to be in a relationship.
You know what? Honestly, and I'm probably going to say something that is unpopular and possibly foreign to a lot of people. These are my thoughts
personal
and opinions.
thoughts. Yeah,
I feel as though a woman, I'll get on the men. But when a woman specifically sleeps around
Yeah.
and has multiple sex partners,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no shame or guilt,
Mm-hmm.
and if there is shame or guilt and you continue to do it, I strongly feel that's a mental illness. That is the real mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Let's normalize saying sin is mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
because we're in an era where everything is depression, bipolar, anxiety, call for help with this. Where are the helplines where if you're struggling with fornication,
Mm-hmm.
call this helpline? Like, we need spiritual helplines to help us in those moments. But the makeup of a woman, we're not the same with men. We can't lay down with a man
Mm-hmm.
and not have some type of
Emotion and feelings, attachment, yeah, all of that.
to mentally do that and have no attachment emotionally.
Yeah, that's really different for a woman. I mean,
Something is going on mentally.
Yeah,
It's not normal.
it's not normal.
And then and my nieces call me old. They keep me young, up to date. There was a group called City Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah.
And their slogan was, and I just learned this. Their slogan was "Whole life or no life."
See, that's the culture I'm talking about. The cultural difference, that if you let culture guide you, because there are some more things that are out, that I'm not in agreement with when it comes to sex. But that's just, a lot of people feel this way. But yeah, culture leading you that way, saying, especially when artists.
And our young girls are listening.
Right,
to
they're listening to those songs and the beat is good, so they think the beat is good, so the meaning is good.
Because they're saying the lyrics, and then next thing you know, you're doing all of these things, and they're very graphic and they're descriptive of how they do things. Our young girls are watching this. Mm-hmm. So the question is, what is the standard? Right. If we don't have enough women out here speaking on what is righteous, what isn't righteous, or the person who you look up to as righteous fornicates. Mm-hmm. So it justifies it when you do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Even if it's just with one person. Right. It's still fornication.
It still is. Yeah. And the thing that weighs on me is that fornication does a lot more than just makes you commit sin. Mm-hmm. It has a lot more attachments to it. Absolutely. A lot more damaging attachments, which causes brokenness in people, because you have attached yourself in more than just communication. Mm-hmm. And you've attached yourself physically. Yes. And that means something. Yes. That means something spiritually.
1000%.
When spiritually on God's side, spiritually on the enemy's side. Mm-hmm. When you do connect yourself to another person, whether in or out of that marriage. Yeah. Inside the marriage is great. Outside the marriage is sin, and it's going to cause a lot of issues.
Absolutely.
And and you may not even think that. You may think, well, I've been having sex for years, girl. That ain't bothering me. That's well, when you start when you start digging deep into some issues that you have, you mental will illness, see.
I'm telling you.
You call it mental illness.
I'm telling you, it's really I to me, when they're especially sex specifically with women.
Okay.
When there's some type of mental
with that man,
that's not in our makeup,
and you don't care, like, honey, that's okay. Next, that's not usually how
they're
we're
now
made.
Saying that the new thing is, if they use a condom, they don't count that person towards their body count.
Oh, come on. Don't believe the lie.
No, don't.
Don't believe that lie. It still is sexual fornication is sexual intercourse.
So there are men who claim to be men of God, who are in church and some in leadership roles, that justify having sex. Because you love God and I love God, we're fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So there's so many things out here. So many people justify what the scriptures say. I call it wrongfully dividing the word of truth. Wow,
because there's
subtracting the word of
truth.
Because
there's a rightfully divided, there's a wrongfully divided. Okay, I feel you.
So it's a lot in terms of being saved and single, and the topic of sex is something that needs to be normalized.
Yeah, that is a thing that that is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you receive it as wrong or not,
Yeah.
that's between you and God.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do with that.
Absolutely.
What I have something to do with is whatever the scripture said. If it says that it's wrong, then it's wrong. And so I'm supposed to line up to the Bible. The Bible's not supposed to line up to me.
Absolutely.
Because if that's the case, honey, we're going to have what we have right now
Yes.
in this world, right?
Yes. Yes.
All of these different things we
Yes.
got going on right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
That's what we get when
Yeah.
we, try to make the Bible match us.
Exactly.
We're going to find something in there to say it matches. No, baby, you misunderstanding that scripture.
God changeth not.
He is not
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
That's not what that means.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I really appreciate you coming on here speaking with me with
Yes.
this topic and having
Yes.
this conversation,
Thank
girl.
you for having me.
Oh yeah. So this conversation is usually about an hour because girlfriends can talk 4 hours.
We can talk all day.
We cut it to an hour because there's so many other topics we can jump into, which my next one will be a totally different topic. But for now, we talked about sex, single, and saved.
Yes.
How are you handling that? How are you navigating this faith-filled life, this spirit-filled life, and in singleness, sex, and saved? How are you handling that? Do you need to go back and re-examine? Do you feel any conscience when you do have sex before marriage? Because sometimes people, it's such a prevalent thing that they don't have a conscience about it anymore. That's when the scriptures say the conscience has been seared.
Reprobate.
Yeah, reprobate. So it's seared. It's like, no, there's no problem with me. Some people say, I don't have any problem with temptation. I just yield. You were off in the deep end on that one.
Yes.
So again, sexual desire is a natural desire. It's very natural. It's God-given. We didn't create this. God created sex, but he also created and told us when to and when not to.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So that's just what that is. When you're married, that's it.
Yeah, the bed
good
is
to go.
undefiled when you're married.
Undefiled. It's good to go.
Yeah.
But before marriage, it's not right. Yeah. Keep your legs closed. Keep them closed.
No, I think it has a lot of, and I know we're wrapping up, but there's so many benefits to being obedient to what the word says. Just the freedom, the peace, the certainty to know where I'm going to spend eternity. It's rewarding. And I don't know about you, but when I have fallen short, immediately it's like, I cannot believe I did this. Oh my God.
That's the thing.
It's not even worth it.
It's not even because so here's a strategy. I think you mentioned that. Before you do, I want you to imagine how you're going to feel after the feeling is gone, after everything is settled, the dust is settled. Where's your mind going to be? Are you going to be okay with it?
Right.
Are you going to?
That's how you know.
Yeah. So think about that beforehand. But if you have put yourself in a situation where you're not going to be even caring about that right now, and that's usually what happens
when you let your boundaries down.
You let your boundaries down. You need strategies on how to not be there. And the one way to get out of something is to not get in it.
Boundaries.
Yeah, that's those boundaries. Yeah. And have standards, because some people don't even have standards.
Oh, Lord.
They don't even care.
Yeah.
It doesn't even cross their mind. Sometimes it's because of how they were raised. Sometimes it's because of the crowd that they're around. So sometimes it's just not just peer pressure, but social pressure.
Yeah.
Cultural pressure.
Yeah.
Around what makes them comfortable with stepping out like that.
Yeah.
Because you're stepping out on God. He didn't tell us to do it like that. So we want to go ahead and rein that on in. God's way. And really follow him. If you're following him, follow him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're falling short, find out how to correct that. My word for the rest of the year, and I said it some time ago, earlier this year, my word for the rest of the year is intentional. I want to be intentional about where my future. I want to be intentional about how I walk this walk.
Yeah.
I want to be intentional. And this is
Mhm.
one of my ways of being intentional is talking about it.
Mm.
I'm very intentional about it.
I love that.
And, let God do the rest. Because you know what? There is a timing. God has a time for us.
Mhm.
He has a time for us to meet that person.
Yeah.
He has a time for us to be able to have sex like that.
Mhm.
But the timing, maybe if you're not married, the timing is just not right now.
That's right. Yeah.
And we just wait on God. In the
Yeah.
meantime,
Get yourself together.
be working on yourself spiritually. Get
Yeah.
on your knees in prayer.
Mhm.
Go in some praise and worship. One of my favorite praise and worship is CC Winans' song.
Mhm.
What's that one? I'm drawing a blank because I know I'm timed. It's all of her praise and worship songs are great,
Yes.
but it's one in particular that makes me put everything down and just say,
Yes. Yes.
"Gosh, which one is that?" I'll go ahead and
Yeah.
put it on the.
Yeah.
I'll log it on here somewhere. But yeah, and then I lose myself in that, and see that strengthens me.
Yes.
That strengthens me. It gives me a
Mhm.
little stronger in that area to
Mhm.
say no.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you need strength to say no. You can't
Yes.
just easily say no when you're right there in the
No,
situation.
you
You
can't.
just cannot. So you can't always say no, stop, not now, all of that. But when you allow yourself to get stronger in Christ, it'll be easier, a
Mhm.
little
Mhm.
easier.
Mhm. No, it is, because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge,
Mhm.
and fear is when you look into it, is admiration, is love.
Mhm.
So it's, Lord, I love you so much, I don't want to disappoint you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to disappoint you. I want to
Yeah.
please you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you say? Is that pleasing you? Okay, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. But I do want to put this out there.
Sure.
If there is someone who has been struggling with fornication or any other sin, one of my favorite scriptures is 1 John 1:9. It says,
Okay.
if you confess
Confess
your
your
faults,
faults
I am
before
faithful and just to forgive.
give you. Yeah.
So God is ready and excited to forgive us.
Yeah.
We have to confess and want to change. But with forgiveness, confession, there requires a change.
Mhm.
And the beauty of is there's no topic off limit with God.
Right.
We can talk to God about any and
Anything,
everything.
because I surely do.
Yeah, so if you're struggling with something, have that conversation. Lord, I'm
Right.
struggling with this. I need your
Yeah.
help.
Send me help, Lord.
Yes, send me
Send me
help.
some help.
Yeah.
And then, because I always pray that the Lord send the perfect labor in that person's life.
Mhm.
I
I
may
love
not
that.
have all the right words for you, but I pray that God sends the perfect labor in
I
your life
love
that'll
that.
speak to you and speak to
I
your
love
life.
that.
So those are the things that will be impactful in your life, and you'll know when that is from God,
Yes,
right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
I am so happy that, hey,
Yes.
this is my first guest.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming and
Of
agreeing
course.
to come with us.
Of course.
Well, you guys, look, I'll say it one last time. It's not that sex is bad.
Mhm.
It's just like the parent told the child, no dessert before your meal,
Yes.
no sex before marriage. You can have it, all the
Yes.
dessert you want after your meal, all
Yes.
right? So that's just where we want to end on. Thank you for tuning in. And next week, I'll have a totally different topic. I want you to stay tuned and I will post it. Now, this is live, but I'm going to upload it. So it's going to look a little different. It's going to be edited. It's going to have thumbnails. It's going to have all the juicy stuff to make it a YouTube podcast channel, right?
Yay.
And this is Naomi Speaks with
Yes.
conversations that
Yes.
matter.
Yes.
Peace
I love
out.
that.
And I'm going to walk and turn it off. It won't be like this in the future. Bye.